Well, I don't know if some of you may have noticed in my previous videos that rigid tapping, the behavior of the cycle was a little bit weird. It had a super slow indexing search rate, and I mentioned that it seemed a little excessively slow, and when I talked to Siemens, they thought it looked a little bit slow. They weren't really able to point me in the exact right direction, but I've just been playing around inside the controller, and I think I've got that all sorted out. So this is just a test cycle to test the changes I've made to the behavior of velocity for indexing search. And so I'm just going to run this program so you can see what it looks like now. I'm just going to slowly bring the keyboard up. Cooling off. So this is what it's doing now, which is lovely. Nothing wrong with this. And yeah, this is like a compression tap holder. I've started using it even though I'm using a rigid tapping cycle, just because it's got quick change collets for the taps, and I've been using the same ATC position for several different tap sizes. So yeah, this to me, I'm very happy. So I'll show you in the controller where I made the changes, and I mean, it is doing like an axis contour monitoring right now, so if there was any issues it was having with this, it would alarm. So I have no doubt that this is going to run just fine in practice. I actually did just run this cycle, so it was about, I don't know, 400 times longer the way it was set up before to do this same cycle. So I'll just stop this and reset it. So I'll show you a couple different things. First of all, normally I have the spindle ramp up in between each hole, and when you set your tapping, rigid tapping in Fusion, it will automatically default to that behavior. So if you want to change it, I'm going to attempt to modify the post processor to make that maybe an option in the post, so that you can just select it and it'll change the behavior. But one way to do it is to be able to go in and open a Fusion posted program and actually do this whole reconfigure thing. You have to copy it. Like right now I'm using a network drive. You can't do it. So if I open the tap test in here, use the input button, and you go down, it's automatically posting 832 in every one, which is weird. But so if we open the modal call for cycle 84, which is what it's doing for tapping, we can, if you hit this, well, there's just nothing down here for options. So what you have to do is copy it into machine memory, and now we can open it. And now when we go over it, it's going to have this recompute or recompile or whatever it is, and then we can actually adjust what happens. And default out of Fusion, this SDAC, spindle of rotation after end of cycle, it's going to be automatically set to 3, and 3 is M3. So it's going to ramp the spindle back up to 1000 RPM in M3, even though it just finished coming out of the hole in reverse, which is, I don't know, whatever that is, M2, I don't know. And so what I did is I changed that to M5, spindle stop, which I like. So then you just hit OK, and then you can run it. But where I made the changes is you have to go into the system, so shift, alarm, and you have to be in here as the manufacturer, so you know the password to get into that. It's in the manuals. And you go into expert data. That was one thing that, so I'm going to back out of here at risk of never being able to find it again. So when you go in, so you've set your password, so you're into the good stuff. And if you go into machine data, you're going to be in this basic list, And if you, right now I'm in the spindle, so you can change like X, Y, Z spindle. I thought I had it for sure in here. Let me show you. There's an indexing search speed in here, and it's right here. And when I looked it up in the commissioning manual, this was it. Like, I was convinced I found the right thing. So I set these all to 15. They were at some really random value, like 2. And I should probably switch them back, I guess. But that did not have an effect on it, so it wasn't it. But if you click over to this expert list, you get some more options. I'm at the bottom, so I'm scrolling up now. And where I found it, the first thing I did was change something that, oh, whoops, I'm in the wrong one. Axis. So now we went in, so if you didn't catch that, sorry. So we're in the basic, then you go to expert, then you have to go into axis, and then you're into the spindle, and now you're into the expert stuff. So I'll show you what I did first, which messes it up, so you don't do it. This seemed like it too. Hey, wait a minute, this is the maximum speed of the gear stage with position control. I assume position control is what we're using for tapping, but no, don't change that. When you set that to like 15, it will not tap. It'll just sit there and spin at like 15 RPM and nothing's gonna happen. So don't change those. What you do want to change is a little further up, I think it was. And that is, so just give me a second to find it. I didn't really do anything to prepare for this video, so actually it was below those, that's why I messed up. Step max velocity, so it's below that, so keep going here. These are the ones. So I'm not an expert on this stuff, but you'll find there's a whole bunch of these kinds of settings, so it seems redundant, but it's index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are what I believe are called the gear stages. So I don't know, the machine, if you've selected a certain target RPM, it's going to pick an appropriate gear stage to use. I don't know the back end of that, like maybe that's how you fine tune how it communicates with the driver, or in this case the VFD, to be more accurate within that gear stage. I don't know, but bottom line is these were all set to 10, I believe it was, by default. So I don't know which stage it was gonna pick. So I think there's 2 or 3 of them that were 0, or sorry, 10 I guess it would have been. So I changed those. First I tried 15 and it worked. Then I tried 100 and it worked. And then I went all the way up to 500, and I don't know how fast you could probably go, but I mean, I may ended up even backing it off a little from here because this is now all of a sudden really fast. But that's how I did it, and that's where you find it. And as you can see, the results are pretty good. I haven't actually drove it into metal with these new settings, but you know, the machine monitors the position and how accurately it's slaved, so like I said, I have about 0 doubt that this is going to work properly. So anyway, there you go. There's an 9-minute video that could have probably been covered in about 30 seconds, but I hope it helps someone with this setup, and it goes to show that it's not really a limitation of the machine or the controller, it just has to do with the settings. So there you go. Alright, talk to you later.